you work in the entertainment industry and have to solve creativity to technology translation issues in your typical projects, and you want to have an industrial proven 24/7 available system to do that, where this system is long-term available to buy and it has a service period of 20 or even more years. Beckoff is offering such a system for you as an industrial control system, which is one important part of the ultimate guest experience which you like to create for your customers. To have this reliable control system, it's one part, but it also needs to include all the tools which you need to realize creative solutions, because that's another important part of the ultimate guest experience. So beckoff brings the industrial control and the creative tools to one platform, and this is your toolbox. So if we look to a city, beckoff is offering a scalable automation platform where it's typically used in industrial applications or factory automation, but also wind industry or infrastructure, and also building automation. But today our main focus should be on the entertainment industry with theaters, museums, stadiums, or also cruise lines or theme park applications. We are serving our customers on a global base, and we mainly see in the entertainment industry 4 categories. So it starts in the end with the stage industry, where we have fixed installations for theaters, musicals, museums, or convention centers. And the focus is here on really fixed installation and the different way how to design the cabinets and things like that. If we look to the show industry, there's a little bit more different requirements because you are moving the parts typically from one venue to another. And when we talk then about concerts or tours or music festivals or things like that. Another interesting market is the unique applications, where we talk about art installations, media installations, or corporate presentations, where it's typically the idea to have one really unique created thing where you attract a lot of people with, or you have also a good integration into some shop concept or showrooms. Last but not least, we have then the attractions industry, where we talk about entertainment parks, theme parks, TV studios, or even motion picture studios. And I guess that most of you are working in one of these aforementioned parts. So let's take a look into the typical customer applications, which we have done in the past. So it starts with a customer from the US. Their name is Hudson Scenics. They are doing stage machinery, and this is one example for the musical Hamilton, for example. Another application is a show application for the sensation White. There's also attractions industry applications, for example, from Altefast from Belgium. Hundreds of lights are controlled here in the People's Grand Theater in China. And the last picture I like to bring you here is for the stage control of the famous Seebühne Bregenz, where the upcoming Opera Rigoletto will be showing this summer. So this was a quick selection of hundreds of references which we have. Yeah? And I like to highlight one other reference here now in a video. The name is Kinetic Rain. You probably maybe know it. It's in the Changi Airport. It's an installation of 1,200 droplets, which are individually controlled in this application to create an ocean of droplets, where this ocean then shows different figures during a 15-minute show. And it's one of the most complex control tasks, where our strength was not only to control very precise all these droplets, it was also to communicate to the creative director to get the information into our system. You will learn more in the later part of the video here. Now it's time to look at our automation platform and how it integrates into the entertainment industry. So our system consists out of the controllers, which are working together with the software TwinCAD as a main heart of our system. And then we have the I/O system and also the motion part. And when we look to beckoff as a company, we are a family-owned company with 4,500 employees around the world, and we have a revenue of 929 million euros in 2020. And we were founded in 1980. And 6 years already later, we started to develop PC-based control. So since over 30 years, we are serving the world with PC-based control, and we have a very stable base for this now. We have thousands of customers in the world using our technology. And also TwinCAT, which is the software to run the automation system, was developed first in 1996, so it's also available since over 25 years. So if we are coming back to the control system, it is your data processing, connectivity, and visualization platform. And around that, you can put the typical entertainment applications then. So you can connect out of our platform into the movable objects, the lighting, the audio, video, and the building automation. And this is your perfect creativity to technology translation platform, which you can use to go into the applications which you are very well known. When we look to our system in the way how it connects to the different worlds, you are very flexible. So you can go with a centralized or decentralized control approach. That means you can take our system and use it as a machinery or light or audio-video controller, or you can take our system also to be the overall controller and to be the central controller, which is serving the information for all the different technical systems. And whatever way you are going, you can then still decide per technical system or also project if you want to stay central or decentral for the control possibilities. You can choose the number of control screens and control buttons and things like that you like to have in your application. But also the cabinet design and the wiring is completely free. So you can even mix the central and decentral approach, and this gives you a lot of freedom. So if we now talk about the typical involved persons and phases of an entertainment industry project, let's start with investment. So for the investment side, it's very important that you have a low investment cost in the beginning, and there we have a scalable and fine granularity hardware set and software set at beckoff. Also, you can protect then your investment with a long-term available industrial control system, which is in addition also made in Germany and has a very high quality. Also for the future, you are well equipped with beckoff because we have a continuous product enhancement and we develop a lot of new things. Also on the technology side, for example, EtherCAT is our main field bus system, which we continued to develop since 2003. And where we have EtherCAT in the base, but now also in addition, EtherCAT G. Last but not least, here on the investment side, we are serving on the beckoff side here 70 countries, over 70 countries on a global base. So we are really a global partner for you. If we look from the investment to the next phase for the planning brings all the technical systems on one platform together. And it's very important that you have all the different interfaces to communicate to the different technical worlds, and we will learn more about that later. For the planning, it's very important that you have a modular and open system, which beckoff brings, and that you have the flexibility in regards to design changes or extensions of the project. And beckoff products are also perfectly suited into retrofits. The main part in the end for us from the daily work is done by the integrator, because the integrator is our main customer. So you are looking there for scalable control systems which are growing with your projects, and you like to have the third-party integration for all the different worlds which we are offering. And what we can also provide is a standardized and open programming interface, where TwinCAT is also in addition included into Visual Studio, which is one of the most popular engineering tools. So, and the most interesting point for you after this video could be that we have a free engineering toolset and also a hardware-independent engineering, which means you just take your notebook or PC, you download TwinCAT, and you directly can start on your hardware device which you have already in your office. So For the operating, last but not least, we have then the flexibility operation, where it means that you can start with simple manual operation in the plant, or you can go up to high-end modern web visualizations. You also have a long-term availability of the controllers and a 24/7 operation proven system from beckoff, where you can really run your application smooth for a long time. You have a long-term service up to 20 years or even more for our components. And you have a lot of predictive maintenance functions in the systems, which you can analyze either in the cloud or locally on the controller. And also the remote access via a network is also possible, so that you can monitor your systems which you maybe have in different locations. So when we now take a look into the different markets, we brought some pictures in a 3D graphics way here, where we start with a market for fixed installations, which we have learned in the beginning, which is the theaters, musicals, and things like that. And we show you here a little bit how you can integrate beckoff from the technical side into this type of applications. So it starts with the movable objects, which you can use for the upper or lower machinery, for stage manager desks, for movable seats, for acoustic elements, and other things which are moving in a theater. The lighting control system is typically for the hall light, building light, but also the stage light. The audio-video integration is typically about the projection systems and audio systems. And the building automation is covering all type of building facility control aspects which you like to integrate. If we go to the next market, it's the rock and concert touring market. There it's typically that beckoff is used for the movable objects and for the lighting, where it means that the movable objects are typically hoists, winches, stage machinery, or platforms. And for the light, it's typically the stage lights and the lighting effects. When we go into the market for unique applications, it's a very, very flexible market, because it is a lot of creativity here. Yeah? So we try to draw that in a picture where we put all the parts which you typically use. So there's a lot of kinetic objects typically used, like you have seen with kinetic rain, where then also light comes often into the game, where we have the general light or also show light. We have the integration of audio and projections, but also water fountains or other special effect systems like fog effects or other things. And also the interaction with the guests via maybe a smartwatch or smartphone, or maybe also some sensor like a Kinect or inter-RealSense sensor. And the last graphic we have here is about the entertainment or attractions industry, where we have here a typical entertainment park with 4D cinemas, theater applications, animated figures, float parades, water shows, and other things. And there you can also use our 4 technical worlds in the certain positions, which you can see here, from movable objects for vibrating seats or animated figures or water fountains which are moving, up to several different light installations or audio-video installations, and then also the buildings which are spread around the park or maybe also outside the park in case of hotels or other infrastructural buildings. This was our overview for the markets and where we can use them. And now let's go into the control possibilities. So if we talk about the control possibilities, we first of all have to discuss in detail what type of protocols do we have, because that's our main interface to communicate into the technical worlds. And it starts with movable objects. So for the movable objects, there's not a lot of communication to other systems because it's very often safety relevant. And we have, for example, a protocol called failsafe over EtherCAT, where we use this protocol to communicate in between our safety components, but we can also use two certified third-party components. And that is in the end the way how safety is typically done. And then we have a lot of other communication which is needed there, where we typically use then TwinCAT ADS or EtherCAT automation protocol from the beckoff side, or also if it's needed and sometimes required, then we can integrate also devices via CAN or Profinet, for example. If we look to the next technology, that's typically the lighting. Then with the lighting, it is mainly DMX, but also the Ethernet versions of DMX, ArtNet, and streaming ACN. And also nowadays a lot of POSI StageNet, where this POSI StageNet is that the communication from typically movable objects or other sensor systems provides a position of an object, and we communicate then this position of an object out of our system to a light system. And then the light system is following the position of the object or is doing some other set for preset or other actions. For the audio video, it's mainly split into the audio part, where we have AES-70 for DNB amplifiers, for example, or QSC or Dante or other audio interfaces. For the video, it's mainly the PJ-Link system. And to synchronize everything, very often SMPTE timecode is used. And the last part is then the building automation part, where we have the classical wired installations, DALI, IPE, OLON, or SMI bus, which are also used, but mainly in the end, BACnet is used as an interface, because there we can communicate from the beckoff world to our own devices and also to a lot of third-party systems, because we have a very strong BACnet implementation, and that is in the end in entertainment applications the most use case for building automation integration. So if we now take that to the next level, when we know what interfaces do we have, then we talk about the control possibilities. There we have, first of all, the multi-touch screen from beckoff, where you can run your visualization, and then the operator or user can use the multi-touch screen. Another point is the I/O system. For the I/O system, you can connect switches, classical light switches, you can connect joysticks or other wired interfaces, and you can bring that on one platform. The next step is then that you use ADS, and you can communicate, for example, with that to a sensor like an Intel RealSense sensor, and you can detect then a person with this camera systems and detect the movements of this person or gestures of this person. And last but not least, here we have then the console, where we have these interfaces with DMX and streaming ACN and ArtNet to all the different type of consoles. And you can take also the console, typically the light console, as one part for the integration into the beckoff system. If we now go one level higher, then we talk about the show control possibilities. So the show control possibilities start in the end with, you go based on cues or presets or scenes, however you would like to call that in your part. So you can trigger those scenes from a light console, from a touch screen, from a database, from an Excel sheet, whatever information you like to read in, and go then from one scene to another because you pre-stored the scenes. Another thing you can do is you can go based on a time information. So the time information can be based on the PLC, very precise, in a way down to microseconds. So we can go even up to 50 microseconds PLC cycle time, typically is a millisecond or lower. And you can also synchronize the system externally by saying, okay, I go with IEEE 1588 PTP time protocol, or with NTP, the network time protocol, or SMPTE timecode. So you have different sources of time synchronization possible into the system. And the next part in the end for possible show control is that you can use the analyze of pictures or videos, and I like to show you two examples here. The first example is from customer Aquatic Show from France. They control thousands of valves with EtherCAT to open and close them very fast, and the information which you see here in the video is just a picture after picture after picture, and the information is just read in line by line, and the information out of the picture is then brought to the valves to open and close them, and so you can write or draw into the waterfall. Another example is kinetic rain, which we have seen before. There, the creative interface I mentioned also before was done in a way that they used a kind of 3D movie to create all the different figures, the aircraft or bird or whatever should come out of this ocean of droplets. And the creative person could design that in a graphical way in his tool and then transport the data into the TwinCAD world. And this is also possible with other tools, for example, like Blender or Conductor. So that's the analyze possibilities, yeah? And the last part in the end to get onto your show control platform here is the live part. So you can take a Kinect sensor or enter real sense sensor or just a light barrier and say, okay, one person crossed the standard light barrier, then this and this should happen, yeah? So you can combine all these control possibilities onto one platform and you can then create out of that your applications. So this information we also have compressed in a brochure, which you can download on the website, and otherwise contact us at the email address info@beckoff.com.